Welcome to Americana Archives. Today's headline is Racing Locomotives. The subheadline is an exciting twilight match between two iron horses. It says, few persons who have traveled over either of the two great routes, to wit, the Lake Shore or Fort Wayne, from Chicago eastward, have escaped noticing the fact that the two roads run side by side for a distance of 20 miles before they diverge so much that the passengers on one train cannot distinguish the features of friends upon the other train, providing two trains are running alongside. A rivalry has existed between the operatives of the two routes ever since the completion of the Fort Wayne Road. By the time the trains reach South Chicago, the passengers are all alive to the excitement of the race. On a recent occasion, the Times representative was invited to get up at Grand Crossing and see it down just once. So he jumped off as the train slacked at the crossing, and running quickly forward, did get up and perched upon the narrow seat of the fireman at the left of the cab. He took a few notes onto as pretty a race as was ever run over this course. The rival train had a little head start, but our engineer thought he could get out of South Chicago even with them. And then was when the fun would come. It had grown dark enough to have the sparks gleam brightly as the two engines vomited forth, with nervous, spiteful coughs, great volumes of coal smoke mingled with steam, which streaked off away over the trains and lay like sullen storm clouds over the low landscape. We left South Chicago well together, and each engine was soon put to lively work. As the fireman opened the furnace doors, bright streaks of glaring, angry red light would shoot backward through the mass of smoke and steam, for a moment lighting it up with a lurid glare that smacked of the internal regions. Faster and faster flew the driving wheels, and the lightning-like motion of the parallel bars bewildered the eye. The headlight of our engine seemed to throw its luminous rays ahead by jerks, lighting up a weird scene of low, sedgy marsh, sandy wastes, stunted pines, and sluggish lagoon, through which lay the iron-bound course over which our ponderous engine glided at a fearfully rapid pace, seeming to give every energy to the struggle, as much as it were a thing of life and reason. Side by side, the two trains sped for many miles, ours leading by half a car length. Our engineer was one of the most careful on this road, and one who very seldom indulged in a race. But he concluded that it would never do to suffer a scoop, as that is something the paper never allows. So to show what his pride of an engine could do, just before parting company with his rival, he gave the old machine a little more latitude, and the faithful assistant heaved in an extra dose of coal, when with an intensified growl, away he sped at a rate of speed rarely accomplished by a locomotive, and with a parting screech of the steam whistle, we left the vainly struggling rival far in the rear. As the roads diverged, we could see the engine of the opposition line plunging madly through the low oaks and pines, seemingly running twice as fast as we were. We had jumped by switches, sidings, and stations, but now a coterie of red and green lights appear. The reverse bar is thrown over, the throttle valve closed, the bell set to ringing by steam, and with hand on the valve, which governs the air brake, the engineer, with great drops of perspiration standing on his brow, gently reins his glowing steed, and stops the ponderous monster right where he can water it easily, and then remarks with great inward satisfaction, "Well, they got it that time." Then, as he gets down with torch and oil can to make the grand rounds, the representative bids him a hearty good night and slips back to full-size seats and lazybacks, and is greeted with the remark, "You were out there, were you? I wondered what had gotten into the old man." The passengers are all elated over the victory, each one regarding it in the light of a new case of personal prowess, quite as much as if they had run the engine or in fact owned the road. No other topic entered into the general conversation, and as the train drew up to the supper station, 60 miles out of Chicago, every person on the train seemed to have a keen appetite, which the excitement of the grand race had begun. Of course, all the passengers of that train will ever after swear by that road, unless perhaps they should sometimes suffer defeat, and that would leave them in a quandary as to whether they had been beaten fairly and whether they did not have more and heavier cars than the rival train. In a year or two more, when the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, the Canada Southern, and the Airline Railroads are completed, there will be many a lively race in that neck of woods, which skirts the lower lakeshore, so that the representative American may hope for any amount of fun of the rapid kind. This story came from the great state of South Carolina, being reported by the Port Royal Commercial and Beaufort County Republican of April 30th, 1874. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.